In this WrestleTalk news, a disgraced wrestler arrested, Alberto Del Rio threats, my review of AEW and more. Give us a subscribe or Darby Allin is grounded. I'm serious. No skateboarding for Darby for a week if you don't subscribe.
Support WrestleTalk!
Last month, a report emerged that former New Japan and Impact wrestler Michael Elgin, real name Aaron Frobel, had gone missing after reportedly leaving a concerning message with his sponsor. Fortunately, he was found relatively quickly and was safe. But now WrestlingNews.co is reporting that 1 week after that incident, Frobel was arrested for a violation of a protective order on June 29th. The order had been filed by Frobel's ex-fiancée on May 21st, a month after she left her home on April 21st for her safety, after allegedly being abused by Elgin. The allegations include sexual, mental, emotional, and verbal abuse. The report also states that Frobel allegedly violated this protective order over 60 times. Frobel's ex-fiancée has alleged this is a regular pattern of behaviour for him, claiming he had done similar things to his ex-wife in the past, as well as several other women reaching out to her to share their stories as well. If you've been affected by any of these issues discussed, please visit WrestleTalk.com/support each other for a list of mental health resources that can help. Unfortunately, the serious news continues, as Alberto El Patron, the former Alberto Del Rio in WWE, has threatened to expose Paige if she doesn't stop messing with him in a recent interview with Hannibal TV. Del Rio and Paige went public with their relationship in 2016, getting engaged that October, but splitting the following year. That time was plagued with controversial incidents with alleged abuse on both sides. In April this year, Del Rio claimed he and Paige had signed a $1 million confidentiality agreement about their relationship. But in a new interview with Hannibal TV, he claims he and Paige lied about their domestic incidents to protect her from losing her job. We threw a bullshit story to the media, to the fans, but that's not a real story. And I have no intentions of entertaining the internet, and I don't want to affect anyone's life, but please stop messing with me. Del Rio claims in the interview that Paige was arrested 3 times with 7 total police reports related to domestic violence. He is now threatening to expose these if Paige doesn't leave him alone. What he is referencing with Paige not leaving him alone is currently unclear. Del Rio is currently awaiting trial for allegedly kidnapping another woman, where he could face life in prison. But you already knew that, didn't you? Crazy. Back to relatively inconsequential and meaningless wrestling news. Yay! Mandy Rose randomly showed up on this week's episode of NXT to watch a match between Saray and Gigi Dolan, before seemingly aligning with the Robert Stone brand after Aliyah appeared to quit the group. WrestleVotes tweeted that this was because a roster trade has very quietly gone down, with Mandy Rose from Raw being traded for NXT's Aliyah. Fightful Select reported that the reason Aliyah specifically was chosen was because she impressed during a scouting session that WWE management had undertaken in the last month in the Performance Center. It doesn't make any sense, but to be honest, I don't mind if that ends the Rose and Brooke versus Natalya and Tamina feud. But now it's Thursday, you know what that means. My review of last night's AEW Dynamite in about 5 minutes. Thanks for your support on Patreon. He's a sexy man. Not an Andrew Gross man. And he can last Sean for longer than you in the ring. You can get your own shout out by visiting us at patreon.com/WrestleTalk. It's Fyter Fest Night 1. You know what that means. No, I actually don't, to be honest. Different graphics going into the commercial breaks. All the Dynamites feel equally stacked right now. The show opened huge on AEW star Jon Moxley defending his New Japan IWGP United States Championship against Impact wrestler Carl Anderson. Wrestling. Eddie Kingston immediately took out Doc Gallows with a pipe, leaving Moxley to retain in a straight-up singles match, catching Anderson's top rope gun stun and hitting the paradigm shift. Not as good as the Nagata match from May, but still a fine 10-minute opener. A far bigger match is set for next week, with Moxley accepting Lance Archer's Texas Deathmatch 2 challenge for the title. Andrade cut a promo in Spanish backstage, which is far cooler than him speaking in English, or, even worse, Vicky Guerrero speaking for him. He then asked Alex Abrahantes, "Donde está Death Triangle?" which actually means, "My name is Where is the Fish?" I knew that Spanish GCSE would come in handy. Bonjour. This could equally be Andrade setting up a Pentagon feud, C, or wanting to join Pentagon and Phoenix in a faction. Also C. Because as much as I love Pac and Eddie Kingston, the Lucha Bros are just other people's storyline fodder right now when it should always be Pentagon. As Counting Crows once sang, "You don't know what you've got till it's gone." As I didn't know how much I liked Ricky Starks until he was taken out with a neck injury. Now he's back wrestling Brian Cage not just for the FTW Championship, but also for the future of Team Taz, with their months-long rivalry threatening to tear the faction apart. Ricky worked over Brian's always injured bicep, but in a great spot, Cage then caught Starks and did some one-armed Ricky curls. Unfortunately, the screenshot I've captured doesn't do it justice, as it looks like he's just sniffing his penis. But double swerve! Hobbs teased helping Cage, but then hit him in the head with the belt to give Ricky the win. Team Taz has a new main man, and Cage has been booted out. Cody Rhodes called out evil Dutchman Malachi Black while wearing all white. America. Black answered with a tale about putting down a prize pony and saying how the passion has gone from Cody's eyes. Black then awesomely appeared in the ring after a light dip, and they had a pull-apart brawl. Santana and Ortiz threatened children's birthday party magician Tully Blanchard backstage. Hangman Page cut an in-ring promo saying he's tried to run from it, he's tried to hide from it, but just as he was about to challenge for the title, the most obnoxious heels in wrestling right now turned up. Matt Jackson cut an excellent promo saying he can still smell beer on Page's breath and he's set to become wrestling's next tragedy. But as Kenny was about to hit Hangman with the belt, the Dark Order made the save. They set up an elimination match where if Page and the Dark Order beat every member of the Elite, Page will get his AEW title shot, and the Dark Order also get to go for the tag championships. If they lose though, Paige can't challenge for the belt. And as Kenny said, that's Hangman's worst fear, right? Failing in front of all these people again. This is once again the best story in wrestling. Chris Jericho then got attacked by MJF and Shawn Spears, revealing the first of the 5 labors of Jericho will be him versus Spears, where only Shawn can use a chair. But that's not the only surprise run-in MJF did.
We are unboxing some figures, but hold on a second. We have a little run-in here. Hold on.
Run-in. You guys are marks. What a dipshit. As I'm holding this stupid action figure. We could have talked about how inaccurate it is, Max, you little ungrateful shit.
One of the reasons I enjoy watching AEW more than WWE is the fresh matchups they constantly put on with exciting new up-and-coming homegrown talent. So next up we got Matt Hardy versus Christian Cage. Christian nearly lost via countout, but just beat it and hit a kill switch to win. Jurassic Express then chased off the Hardy family office. It was a fine match. Why wouldn't you book it if you had Christian and Hardy in the same promotion? I do prefer watching them against younger guys though. Miro got a video package revealing update 82.9B to the TNT Championship design. Britt Baker cut a badass babyface promo on Nyla Rose, with a great line about Vicky Guerrero only being relevant in wrestling because of her last name. And then we went backstage to Rose and Vicky, who got lackluster retorts. The only other women's segment on the show was the returning Yuka Sakazaki beating Penelope Ford in a fun match, but with no real stakes or sense of purpose. AEW really need to be building up Britt's challenger post Nyla, and it feels like they're falling back into their bad women's division habits. Sammy Guevara beat the best friend's protege Wheeler Yuta in an enhancement match, giving Yuta just enough offense to shine. QT Soprano poured coffee over Tony Schiavone backstage. We got an awesome first trailer for AEW's new weekly show Rampage. And the main event saw Darby Allin versus Ethan Page in a coffin match, which Darby rather hilariously started off with a reverse Bret Hart, wearing a steel plate on his back to hit a coffin drop. But the men of the year had their own plans, with Scorpio Sky surprise attacking Darby out of the coffin. Thankfully, Darby dad Sting brawled with Sky through the crowd to take him out. It's like TNA matches again. Paige and Allin then proceeded to have about 15 minutes of absolute anarchy, brawling through the crowd themselves, using the turnbuckle hook as a weapon, and a crazy ego's edge off the second rope onto the steel steps. Darby's already proved himself as a TV main event draw. This more felt like Ethan's real arrival in the promotion. Allin won in the end though, gouging Paige's eyes and skateboarding off his back to send him into the coffin to win. But Darby wasn't done there, he'd only hit one move that would likely shorten his career. So the show closing image was Allin hitting a coffin drop through the coffin. Yo dog, I heard you like coffins, so we put a coffin on your coffin drop. so you can coffin while you're coughing. What did you think of the show? Let me know in the comments down below, and vote in a poll on a poll match on the community tab, where 87% of you went for coffin drop into a coffin equals coffin squared. These 2 hours absolutely flew by, apart from the total lack of direction for the women's division. Again, this episode was flawless. Every segment hit. The in-ring work was great. This week's Dynamite is 4 out of 5. Make WrestleTalk.com your homepage for all the latest wrestling news, and watch our Adam Blompier versus Laurie Blake predictions for Money in the Bank.
Taking these at random, and I've got...
This looks worked. It's worked.
Oh, this bloody isn't. I've got to ask her. It's definitely not going to be her.
It's also
Oscar.
I know. Well, Adam, I'm not wasting paper. I realised I spelt it wrong, but I'm not going to do it again.
Oh, very magnanimous of you. Save the trees.
Oh, hello. Big E.
Beach.
I love Paige.
Oscar and Beach.